Hi, this is Surendra Jaishekhar, founder and CEO of Success Gyan. Friends call me Suren. Success Gyan is India's largest organizer of seminars, and I'm super excited to welcome you to one more edition of Success Talks with Suren, where I have a conversation with a speaker, trainer, or a thought leader who's inspired me and inspired the humanity on the whole. Today, I have a very good friend. He's got many avatars. One of the avatars is a great speaker. Every time he speaks on a Success Gyan stage, I get goosebumps and people get emotional after he finishes, every time he gets a standing ovation. Apart from that, the best way to describe this good friend of mine, all of us heard this one line, a single man can make a difference. He's a living proof of that. Sujit Kumar, along with Matram Foundation, today has helped 900 plus underprivileged children, mostly girls, to get and pursue higher education completely free of cost. Sujit, welcome to Success Talks with Suren. Your opening remarks.
Thank you, Suren. Thanks for the lovely intro. Deeply humbled. Uh, I think my opening remarks would be this. I think we live in an extraordinary situation, something that our generation would have never seen, something like this. I just saw a newspaper ad. The last time it happened was 101 years back. The same situation. It's unprecedented times, and being in HR, I think a lot of people are facing uncertainty. But as you always say, this is probably the right time for each one of us, for folks who are listening, for including people like me, to reinvent ourselves. This is a God's given opportunity and time for us to reskill ourselves, find the larger purpose. And as many predict, post this lockdown, post this corona situation, people are saying that many of them will choose very different, passionate careers all about, right? So I think future looks extremely bright in my opinion for those who put their head out of water and think positive, stay positive, and focusing on reskilling themselves. We have crossed many situations in the past, and I'm sure we will look at greener pastures even now. So that would be my opening remarks, Suresh.
Thank you, Sujat. And for all of you listening, like we always have offline discussions, and we truly believe nature's put a pause button. This is time for us to go inside, introspect, inspire ourselves, learn new skills, and emerge really strong. Okay, the first most question I think hundreds of times we heard this: how and why Martav started.
So, Suren, I mean, having a conversation with you is one of the best thing that I can look for. So let me put uh, some plain facts. Okay, and many people ask me, were you like this when you were a child, when you were in a college, that you were always helping and all this stuff? So I'll make it very clear. Starting an NGO was not in my laundry list of things at all. My top 10 bucket list things, the 10th probably item would be to do something on community work. Though I was involved in community work with Rotaract, Rotary, and stuff like that, never thought I'll start an NGO. I was an extremely career aspiring professional. Like you would have worked with many corporates, wanting to get promoted, being the executive vice president, whatever you want to call in HR. And I was one of the fastest growing HR professionals. So that was my dream. Passionate about public speaking. So Saturdays and Sundays, I used to do a lot of career counseling sessions for students, mostly in the rural sector. And public speaking gave me a high. The applause, the standing ovation always gave me a high. And I also believe that I was making a small difference to the audience sitting there. But God's plan is very different, right? So I mean, most of the people whom you interviewed, including yourself, your moment of enlightenment always comes from a life incident, from a trainer, from a spiritual guru. Or for me, it came through a young girl who was just about 17 and a half. And that day, I realized that life's most interesting moments, life's most enlightening moment happens always around us. We keep our ears and eyes open. So it was in Madurai, and I would have shared this story in about 100 stages, but that story cannot change. That's how I started Matram Foundation. So it was in Madurai, and after a career counseling event, there was this young girl who walked up to me, almost dressed in shambles, with a notebook by her chest, and she said, "I want to study further." And the entire conversation happened in Tamil. So I want to study further. You mentioned about a lot of courses, but is there a course that you can suggest that the moment I finish this course, I need to get a job? So she was only looking for a job-oriented course. So I was a little curious to know what she was doing. And the dress that she was wearing, Surya, I must tell you, none of our girls, none of our teenage girls would even dare to wear this at home. I mean, sometimes you use his old clothes as foot mats outside. We wouldn't even use that. So somebody's donated it to her. And you can see that she was in a very bad condition. So when I inquired more about her, I realized that her father is an alcoholic, mother is no more, and she had two siblings. And she tells me that she's trying to educate her two siblings along with her sponsoring her own education. When I asked her, how do you manage? She said, I work as a domestic help in about four houses. Two houses in the morning, two houses in the evening. And she gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And doing all this, she had scored about 1154 around that out of 1200. And that's a phenomenal score. Something, if I had scored that kind of marks, I would have brought the roof down.
Yeah.
And that kind of a course, she's trying to ask me that, can you suggest me a course? And every time I will go two steps forward, she will go two steps backward. And she was in a hurry to leave. And I asked her, why are you in a hurry to leave? She said, look, I only took 45 minutes permission from my landlord to come to this session. So I need to get back, otherwise I'll lose my job. And that moment, something struck me. What are you working for? You're making a decent amount of money, working for a large corporate. And the voice deep inside, Blair Singer always talks about the little voice. Sometimes the little voice also talks to you about positive. So he said, for the kind of money that you make, I'm sure you can educate one child, right? And we've all done that, Suren. The moment somebody comes and asks for help, we pick up the wallet and we give money. Check charity is probably very, very good. But that day, it just struck me, just merely giving her money is not going to help. I gave her my business card and I said, give me a week's time and I will get back. Let me try. And I always believed till that time that we all have strengths, and if the strengths can be put for a common cause, it can create wonders. So this mobile equipment, I was just browsing through the numbers that people know of, and I found there was a pattern. There was a lot of college chairman's numbers that I had because I used to go and do this free session. I've always done it free till then. So I said, why not ask for a free seat to one of the college chairmen? So I randomly picked one number and called this chairman in Chennai, gave him the story, and said, are you okay about giving me one free engineering seat? There was complete silence on the other end. And I said, okay, you don't need to give it to me free. If you give me free seat, I will train your students free of cost. Because even now there are a good number of colleges which believes when HR guys come and train, their students get placed. So I used to use it to my advantage. And that gentleman on the other side, he said, not just one seat, I'm going to give you 20 seats. You educate 20 children. Now that was like big takeaway for me. I asked for one and I got 20 and I didn't know how am I going to source 20 seats. And the second time the little voice told in my head, you know what, this is not going to be small. This is going to get much, much bigger. So without any doubt, even before I started the name Matram, which only happened 2 years later, I took a piece of paper and wrote down 5 guiding principles with which we started Matram Foundation. And what started with one girl, Suren, we are educating about 937, as you might know. And this girl finished her computer science engineering with a 9.2 CGPA. She was a class topper in computer science engineering. Currently works for a global MNC based in Bangalore, almost making about 8 lakhs per annum and so on and so forth. But if you ask me the story where it happened, it was because of this one girl. We just wanted to educate this one girl, and that resulted in this. What happened then is history, Suren.
Rest all we say is history. When did that happen? When did that happen? That incident?
This happened in 2013, April of 27th. I still remember the date in Madurai.
The seed of Matram was sown on that day.
Absolutely.
Okay. You said something about Blair. I'm going to tell something before go to the next question. A lot of people commenting here. I want you guys to keep commenting and I want you guys to share the story because Matram's story needs to go to the world. So keep commenting. We're going to respond whenever it's possible. Just keep commenting. Okay. I loved you said that you have some 5 guiding principles. For people who are hearing, Blair always says that all of us should live with a code of honor, a set of rules we stick by. And I believe today Matram is Matram because of those 5 guiding principles. Because when we go to your website, we don't see a donation tab. We don't see a child asking for money. Those are some core values how you started. And Sujita, that was phenomenal. Can you please share the core values?
So I'm a very, very strong proponent of that, Sudan. So there is a lot of saying that what the right hand does, the left hand should not know. There is one school of thought. And then there is a second school of thought which says publicize everything that you do so that it will encourage others to do more. And then the third one, which is a very dangerous category, don't do anything, just publicize.
Which is the majority category we are living. What to do?
Unfortunately, sadly. But we belonged to the second category with a difference. We said there has to be dignity in giving. And I'll tell you a very simple incident which happened in college. Now, I had a friend of mine who used to get scholarship in college. Okay. And not because of he was good in academics, because he belonged to a particular community. There was a scholarship which was given. And as college kids, we didn't understand Suren. So we used to always, whenever he gets a scholarship, we said, Machan, give me a treat, right? And one day I asked him, you must be very proud, isn't it? All the time you're going up on stage to collect the scholarship. And he looked at me and he said, do you really think so? When I go there, I actually go put my head down in shame and collect that money, right? So the giver is always happy. The giver is always we don't never look at things from the receiver's perspective, right? The fact that I educate children, the fact that the families come to me, not all of them were poor. Some of them had led a good life, and then some major business loss and things like that. Things turned topsy turvy for them. So, with the first thing that we did, Suren, is there has to be dignity in giving, which means we said we will never ever release photographs, videos of our children, saying that these are Matram beneficiaries. So, even when we have to put pictures, we put up a smiley in their face so that their identity is always protected. Number one. Number two, we said, who do we have to give these seeds for? So if I have only one seed, who will I give this to? And I said, I will give it to an orphan child. Because after in the last 7 years, we realized the pain that these children go through is just humongous. So orphan children get first preference. Then single parent. In Tamil Nadu, unfortunately, a good number of the low-income families don't have their fathers. Thanks to TASMAC, alcohol is one of the big reason. So single parents. Girl children always get the topmost preference. That's point number 3. So which means about out of the 937, a whopping 750 plus are girls in my foundation. And the reason is very simple, Suren. In low-income families, if the father is educated, the generation to follow need not necessarily be educated. But if the mother is educated, she will go to whatever extreme to make sure that the child gets education. So that way, we believe it is the next generation which gets educated. We also said we will not take public donations. Two things which when I started this NGO and when I was looking through the websites, some of the biggest NGOs in the world had very sobbing pictures. It said, you donate 300 rupees, you will help this child. The child will be crying and very sobbing pictures. We said, never ever we will do that. And we also said something to help someone. And this is something which I truly believe in. To help someone, you really don't need money alone. Money is very important. But what you really need is the intent. If we can put a strength for our cause, we can educate, we can do whatever we want. So that way we said we are not going to take public donation unless and until it is really required. So today the model is the colleges give us the seats. They are technically the donors. We only act as a bridge. So why do we need money? And just imagine if I have to educate 937 students into 10 lakhs is an average engineering college fee. How many crores that I need to generate? This is a risk-free model where the college gives me a free seat. I pass it on to the most deserving students. Life is beautiful. But whenever there is a need, there are donors who come forward. You, of course, we will always remember Success Gyan as our first official CSR partner. No matter how big Matram becomes, Success Gyan will always become our first ever corporate CSR partner. You have come forward to take care of our operational cost, which is phenomenal help. So that way, when like-minded people come in, resources follow. We don't really need to look at. So these are the top 5 things that you spoke about.
I tell you, Sujit, from the day I met you, every time I hear your story is inspiration. And nobody ever asked a donation. I still believe I called you and said, I want to do something. Can you help me do it? And that's how the whole conversation started. Yeah. For people who are listening, okay, and we have people from across the country, Sujit. So first, can you tell me what does Matram actually mean? Why did you coin Matram?
Matram in Tamil actually means transformation. People think it's change. What we actually mean is transformation, which you transform somebody's life. That is how we originally started this name. But what in the process we learned is it's not the child which is getting transformed. It is the people like us who get transformed, seeing them bloom. So its simple meaning is transformation. And we are predominantly into the higher education space. So what we do is we pick children after 12th standard, people who have an appetite to study further, but cannot continue their higher studies. They're not even eligible to apply for an educational loan. So we handpick these children across. Today, a large portion comes from Tamil Nadu, though we have our operations now in Bangalore, Kerala, Telangana, Andhra, and in Delhi. 95% of our students are from in and around Tamil Nadu. And we give them complete free education for the next 4 years, which includes their hostel, transport, everything. We also provide them with certifications. And since most of us are from HR, the co-founders are from HR, we train them for employability skills. Then merely it's not the degree. So today we have our children working for some of the top companies, top MNCs across the country and across the globe. In fact, starting last year, we have started making global placements. So predominantly we are in higher education NGO. We also set up school libraries in select government schools. We also work on a very passionate project called Santa Kids, which is a very, very simple concept about teaching young children the joy of giving. Why by giving you become much nobler, and we wanted to inculcate that habit in a very, very small age. But what we do for corona and floods and all this stuff, almost all NGOs pitch in, but that's not our core competence, but that's other thing.
Okay, Sujit, I know you started 7 years before. Today we have 900 plus people. It wouldn't be possible just with one person. I know you have a team of people who came in. Can you talk about the team behind Matram?
Yeah, they are the real superstars. I have 10 of us who 5 trustees and 5 of us as core team members. And none of their names, except Uday, who's very, very active in the NASCOM circle, these are silent people, but pillar of strength to Matram. They have been handpicked, Suren, because they possess a particular strength that they bring to. I always believe if 2 people have the same strength, then there is only job for one person. So what me and Uday does is the external interface, but for a large organization to run, you need to have people. So I have somebody called Punita who runs the entire academic director. She takes care of all academic related stuff. There's a gentleman called Raj Gopal from Scope who takes care of training. Aditya, whom you would have been interacting, is again an HR professional who take care of our accounts. Sindhu, my wife, is involved. She takes care of the background verifications completely. Then I have Mr. Cooper, CEO of India, who takes care of our certifications. Likewise, I can go on. There is a politician in my team who takes care of the external logistics and support. So likewise, if I look at, I have about 10 people working for some of the leading corporates. All of them are full-time professionals, right? Who don't do Matram work full-time. But these are 10 individuals with 10 different strengths. And what the simple rule in Matram is each one of us will focus on our strength and we stick to our responsibility. And that way, this is a rock star team that I have. Because otherwise it's practically impossible to run an NGO of this size without the help and support of these lovely team members. All these guys are interconnected in some way. They would have either worked with me at Infosys or an external meeting, but that the connecting point would be me. But all of them have at some point in time would have worked with me, and that's how this team was formed. And of course, not to forget about 800 volunteers that we have. Many of them we have not even seen. Our oldest volunteer is 92 years old. He lives in Thiruvanmiyur, 92 years, and he contributes. He does physical verifications for us. Unbelievable person.
You know what I love about you, Sujit? One is the idea. The model you thought of was like brilliant. Plus, you put 10 different people together with extremely different skill set, and what you've created is pure magic. And as you said, somewhere I read, you have volunteers from age 4 to 92.
Absolutely.
And these are volunteers because you have hundreds and hundreds of applications. Last year, can you tell me how many applications you got in and how much people you actually gave in? And what is the process you did?
Yeah, so last year we got something around 4,000 plus applications that we had. The biggest challenge that we have as we grow further is the amount of fake requests that you get, right? So they know Matram Foundation is tied up with some of the top universities and colleges. And anything given free in our state is not valued, unfortunately. So the biggest challenge, that the amount of money that we spend in background verification is to weed out fake requests more than the genuine ones are a little easy, but the ones who fake it is the difficult one. So almost like close to 4,000 applications, and we did about 272 admissions, Suren, last year. So you can imagine the amount of fake requests that gets. So it goes through a rigorous process. So people apply through our website. They have our email ID. Then it comes through our known reference. We work with a lot of orphanages in the state where we actually tell them in advance to the children, you do well, we will take care of your education.
Okay.
And to a child, when you give that assurance, we have seen that their 12th scores significantly improve. So that is one source. We have a tie-up with Big FM. Some of the radio channels broadcast our advertisements through which people apply. Our own students act as a referral. So they would have studied in a school. They come from a very, very humble background. So they bring in their referrals. And well-wishers, people who know about us. These are people, I call them as guardian angels.
Yeah.
They are not full-time volunteers. But you know what? They are the critical piece in this entire system. They just look at their domestic health. They just look at the flowerman's son, the auto driver's son, and they just refer these people to us. Okay. For life, the child's guardian angel is this person, because otherwise the child has no clue about what Matram Foundation does. So once we get the request, we do a telephonic interview to go through a background verification. So it has to cross that stage. Then we send our volunteers to their respective residence, where the volunteer has the right to either select the candidate for an interview, reject the candidate if it is outright fake request. When in doubt, he puts it as on hold. We call them also for the interview. Stage 4, we call them for a face-to-face interview, all the shortlisted candidates. We get about 50 people from the corporate to do a corporate interview, a panel interview.
Wow.
And these are all people who work with the top IT firms, banking firms, HR heads who come and do the interview. The interview panel is very interesting. So you have 2 people from the corporate, and one of our student will also be in the panel. And people always ask, why do you make the students sit there? Because the students are the ones who identify the fake request. They look at me and say, sir, you know what, this is the fake request. Because they know what poverty is all about.
Yeah.
So the background verification report, we don't share it with the panel. The panel is allowed to do the interview and they give their recommendation. Finally, I get to meet all the selected candidates and what we do. And I spend about 5 to 10 minutes per candidate to talk about the course of their choice and all this stuff. And only then they are given an admission letter. So it really goes through a 5-stage process. But I have to confess, in spite of all that, we still have 1 or 2 cases here and there where we would have missed Suren. But because the process is strong and because somebody has entrusted us with the responsibility of giving a free seat, we want to ensure that the most deserving gets a seat. Every year, I give back seats to colleges, saying, I'm sorry, I don't have deserving candidates.
So you ensure that a deserving student gets the seat.
Absolutely.
And what I love about what you've done, Sujit, is today I know some of your students have started working. They're coming back and serving Matram right now. And you've created an ecosystem like that. Can you elaborate on that? How did you do that?
So this year, we do an annual event called Sangamam. Of course, last year you were there as our guest. So this year, our alumni was increasing. So one of our alumni students said, sir, how do we give back? So we actually now registered Matram Alumni Association.
Wow.
It has a president, it has a secretary, it's all our own students. And they want to take up this work further. As you know, we have a standard principle. We don't take money from our own students once they are alumni. So we said, you want to contribute, you contribute into your own account. That's something that you guys are going to manage. It has no connection to the Matram's financial.
Wow. I didn't know that. That is awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So they have started their own funds. And for the corona relief right now, we started this simple project called Adopt a Family. We said, look, don't make noise. Very simple. If I can adopt a family for the next 3 months to ensure that their livelihood is taken care of, their 3 meals is getting to their table. That's all that we spoke about. I was very, very happy that 9 of our students have adopted another family. People who are working right now. Now, for me, that was the biggest goosebump moment. Okay, now these are kids who have just started earning 3-4 months back.
Yeah.
And for them to come and say that, look, I want to donate 3,000, 5,000 by paying this family directly, I think our purpose of why we started this came alive. But apart from financials and doing all this, the senior students mentor the junior students in a big, big way. So no matter whether I can be the HR head of Infosys, I can have my friends going and talking. Nothing like my senior kids going and talking to juniors. They understand the pain. They say, don't take things lightly. These are competitive. Take up this certification. Take up a cloud certification. It's going to help you. That reverse mentoring happening from students is phenomenal. Today, I have my kids going down to every corporation school in their region, right? Talking to young kids there, asking them to dream big, giving them career choices. What I was doing about 7 years back as career counseling sessions, I have now about 200 of my children doing it.
Wow.
The schools that they're going and talking about. Girls who are going and saying, how many child marriages these kids have stopped? Unbelievable. After 12th standard, when the kid wants to get married off, these kids say, no, just 4 years is all that. And in 4 years, they brainwash them in such a way that, no, now that you've studied, why do you want to get married immediately? Work for 2-3 years. And you just postpone that decision. So it's just a pretty cyclical effect. Without our children, who are the real champions, I don't think Matram will be where it is today. Of course, donors play a big role, volunteers play a big role, but the work that these children are doing is something phenomenal.
Sujit, what I believe is Matram is not an NGO, it is actually a movement because you're picking up underprivileged children and actually educating them, getting them employed, and you're impacting the whole family for generations to come. Now, this child is already knows that it got help, now it wants to serve back, and it is serving. The ripple effect of what you're creating is completely mind blowing. I really want to thank you, Sujit, because your purpose has become bigger than you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Suren. I think it's all these wishes that makes us really, really strong, right? See, this year, the annual event, I mean, we have time. I just wanted to highlight was emotionally draining. People have always asked me, when you talk about these emotional stories, how is that you don't break up?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, my own co-founders are. But this time I choked and I literally cried on stage during our Sangamam event because we made a very simple decision saying we are getting speakers from outside to come and speak. Why not ask our own kids to speak? So we got the Toastmasters International to come and coach 6 of our children to go on stage and spoke. And I must tell you, it was emotionally choking. I mean, the kind of grit. Can you imagine a child who lost both her parents in a span of 2 years coming and speaking on a topic, count your blessings?
Wow.
She just came on stage and she said, look, in no time I just lost my father and mother. I have to give my board exams and my family members and my relatives are fighting. Who should I work with? I mean, who should I stay with? And she walks up to the relatives and she said, nobody needs to take care of me. I'll take care of myself. She moves into a working women's hostel, writes a 12th board exams, gets about 92%, right? And she was just telling me how she had no clue about pursuing higher education. One day she was sitting and listening to radio at 11 o'clock in the night. When she was about to switch off the radio, she listens to this ad of Matram, applies to us, comes in, and she's a kid whom I signed as a guardian because she had nobody. She was it was the last admission I put her up in Satyabama University. And today, what she's achieving is something phenomenal. She works for one of the leading corporates, and she's the president of the Matram Alumni Association. She spoke on the topic, "Count Your Blessings." And there was one guy this year, and when he walked up on stage, I could only remember you, Suren, because it was your childhood dream of getting into IIT Madras. You have said that in many, many places, and how you actually fulfilled when you went and delivered a talk in IIT. So there was this guy called Sharath, and I mean, I don't think you have heard this story.
Okay.
Sharath came to us 6 years back, uh, and he wanted to do civil engineering, and he had a phenomenal score. Extremely tall, well-built, extremely handsome-looking boy. And being in IT, my natural inclination is, how do you guys make money? How can you go on site so that you settle in? So I said, why not IT? He said, no, sir, I just want to do civil engineering. I asked him again, boss, why civil engineering? He said, my father is a mason. I just want to go one level above. I want to be a civil engineer. I said, okay, respect that. So I admitted in civil engineering. In the next 2 years, I see him that he joined Toastmasters. He was good in public speaking. And then he was good in sports, academically very strong. So we tried and asked him whether he wants to get into uniform services, defense services. I had a friend of mine who was willing to train him. He had all the characteristics. He said, no, sir, I want to get into IIT. I underestimated him. I said, boss, it's like everybody saying getting into IIT. I said, boss, think practically. He said, no, sir, I want to do IIT. I read this professor's Dave Dutt's book on structural engineering. I want to do structural engineering. I initially thought he lost it because I was more keen about placement. That's why you learn from these children. 2 years went by. Final year, he didn't sit through campus placements at all. Okay, he was a class topper. And I asked him, why are you not sitting through campus placements? At least you have a plan B. He gave me the best management lesson. Sir, if there is plan B, I will not focus on plan A. Okay, I don't want a plan B. That vulnerability is what is going to push me to do what I am. I initially thought he's mad.
Okay.
And he's on stage sharing this story, wearing a blazer, a black pant and a black blazer. And inside he was wearing a t-shirt. Okay? And this happened at Sairam College. And just visualize this, Suren. I mean, somewhere in the middle of the talk, he just removed his blazer and put it up on the chair. And then he showed his back to the audience. And it read on the t-shirt, bouncer. Okay?
Wow.
And he said, he looked at the chairman of Sairam College and he told him, sir, I have come to this college. You have paid me thrice for working as a bouncer. And he didn't understand. And he said, all these big Rajinikanth's movie audio launches used to happen here.
Yeah.
And I worked as a bouncer in this place. He has worked as a bouncer in a few of the pubs. Morning, he takes max tuition. Evenings, he works as a bouncer. And he recalled the one incident when he was working as a bouncer in this famous pub. Few of his classmates walked in and he had to open the door. And his classmate said, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? This is not what your dream was. And he said, that's the only time I thought I was going away from my dream. He was about to choke and he called one of my co-founders, Nita, and he said, madam, I'm feeling terrible. Okay. And the response she gave was like, you know what? You're not working there for your livelihood. You are there to pursue your dream. Just go after it. Last 6 months back, before this talk happened in Sangamam, he got an admission into IIT Madras, the same structural engineering course, MS in structural engineering, now getting a stipend of 25,000 rupees. In fact, when I paid the hostel fee, I mentioned your name to him. I said, there was this man who wanted to be in IIT and you have to meet him. And I asked this guy, so what do you want to come out of IIT as? Would you want to work abroad? He said, no, sir. I'll finish my PhD and come out. You will see me only as Dr. Sharath, IIT Madras. Now, these are stories which gives me goosebumps. These are children who teach us back how to dream big, how to set goals and go after it. They have nothing, Suren. Frankly, he does not know where his next meal is going to come from. But that dream was simply amazing. These are people who I'm extremely proud of. And I talk about
meet Sharath. I would love to meet Sharath.
Oh, you have to.
I'm telling you, as you say, no, I don't think we have done anything big in life when we see these kids. These kids, their dream, the way they pursue their dream, their grit, and we are truly humbled when we meet such people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, the next question. We have a lot of listeners typing and commenting here. I know your mission has become bigger than you. How do people find a purpose which they can really pursue? I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. Because you're still working, you're still doing your talks, and still Matram is growing. You kind of balanced everything, and every department of your life is really working well. How can people find their purpose? How can they find something bigger than them?
I read this lovely book called Ikigai.
Yeah, definitely.
And it talks about what you're passionate about, what will people pay for, and stuff like that. This is a lovely Venn diagram which comes towards the target. Suren, I'm a very strong proponent of strength psychology. Dr. Clifton is one of my very favorite authors. If you read this book called Strength Finder, it talks about why people have to focus on their strengths, and using that strength for a cause, you can create that ripple effect, right? So when people ask me, well, how do I know what I'm good at? I know people do know that they are good at something. Like, for example, public speaking is something which naturally came. Even today for my living, I do training sessions in Infosys, and nothing compromises. On a scale of 5, my score is always has to be 5. So which means you prepare and do well. Now, it all started with 2002 when I wrote to my manager saying I want to do training, and training and HR were two separate departments. The head of training said, look, you can do training, but you will not be given weightage for that in your job, right? I said, it's fine. And my manager said, as long as you don't mix these two, I don't have a problem. So I have to go out of my comfort zone, go out of the standard goals that I had, and I went and did training. And because I made that investment sometime in 2002, public speaking and training started happening outside. And today, if that speaking as a career is not there, Suren, I don't think Matram would have ever been started, right? So it's just a small seed. I always tell people, don't look at big things. Take the baby step. You want to help somebody, go after it. Okay, resources will follow, right? You can always find a larger purpose as you dream big. Today, if I want to travel from Chennai to Bangalore in pitch darkness, when I switch on the light of my car, what I can see is only about few meters. I don't see Bangalore as my end destination. But as you move on, okay, there is much more clarity. I think my only request is, if you're passionate about something, invest time and just take the first step, just one step at a time. The plethora of opportunities comes right in front of you and makes life beautiful. I think that's all that I've did. And that's why I said, when I started this NGO in 2013, we named it as Matram only in somewhere late 2015. We registered it as an NGO only in 2017, right? But in all these years, we were helping students to get higher education access and stuff like that. So something that you're passionate about, work on it. Number one. Second, we also wanted to leave this message. To start an NGO, you don't need to wear that kurta pajama.
Yeah.
See, there are certain looks that you have. Oh, you need to have a very, very. I want to live in a good house. I want to buy a good car. For me, charity and work are two different things altogether, right? I enjoy my work at Infosys 200%. Okay, I manage one of the largest vertical for Infosys in HR. I'm in charge for about a $4 billion unit there. I manage internal communications for Infosys. And I have to be my best. If I am not my best in office, my boss is going to kick me out of the job,
Yep.
right? So it is perfectly possible to manage a full-time career and an NGO, okay? I do my talks only on Saturdays and Sundays, okay? And at office, my boss knows that I cannot be disturbed on a Saturday and Sunday. This guy is not going to respond to emails, right? Family time, which is a fourth quadrant, right? From quantity time, it has to become quality time. So when I come inside my office, this mobile phone does not find a place. I hardly take calls when I'm at home. So the time that you give for my wife, I give for my wife or my child is uninterrupted, because that's very, very limited. So as long as we get our priorities right, I think we can manage it quite well. And it's very important, Suren, that when you do this NGO work or public speaking, the role of your spouse is extremely, extremely critical. You have to dream in the same direction. I can't be dreaming in the north and she can't be dreaming in the south. The life will be hanky-dory. But I think it's very, very critical that you have to sit and dream together some of these larger things.
We started this conversation by saying a single man can make a difference. Sujit, you are that one man, and I'm sure you're inspiring people watching this that if they have a core strength, if they're really passionate about something, let them take that first step. The nature universe will bend it back and start giving resources for them, and they can do their work, take care of the family, live their life, still pursue the passion. Thank you for inspiring that, Sujit. And I know I'm going to pick the next question from what you just told. Your wife Sindhu, I know she is actively involved in Matram also. Today, what Matram is majorly because of her. Can you please talk about her? How did you meet her and what role she plays?
Oh yeah, Sindhu, I met her in school. She was my junior in
She's a
Indian
childhood
school.
sweetheart. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. She was my junior in school. 1 year. She's an athlete. She's a sports person. She's represented Kerala in athletics and stuff like that. Even today, a fitness freak. She goes for a run and stuff like that. And she was an HR professional. Not many knew that she was the one who placed me in Infosys.
Wow. Okay.
So
Well done. So she's your HR at home and
absolutely.
life
And
also.
so I didn't even know that Infosys was a large IT organization. I used to work for Pizza Corner, Suren. So while
Wow.
my first entry into Infosys was to deliver pizzas. That's the first time I saw a company like that. Sindhu was the one who referred my CV to Infosys, and she said, "No, you should go after it. They will give you this job." And they interviewed me for 28 hours. I'm not joking. 28 hours spread across 6
Let me
months.
interrupt you. You are working for pizza delivery.
No, I was working as HR in Pizza Corner, but
Okay.
in a service industry, it doesn't matter. When there is delivery has to happen, whether you're marketing HR, you have to go. So I've done
Okay.
all the job,
Okay.
right from cleaning toilets to mopping floor to making pizzas, delivering pizzas. I've done all the job there. 2 years I worked there, and then I joined Infosys. So Sindhu is a
Sorry.
professional HR consultant. She's a recruitment consultant. But in Matram, her role is big, right? She handles the entire backend operations. Now, today she will know literally every kid by name, right? So even now for this Corona relief program, and we are sending a monthly stipend to these girls, family which is in very, very poor condition, she will know them by name. She runs the office, right? So that way, the background verification is a very, very strong team. Her support is humongous because she's at home most of the weekends. I travel out. Otherwise, it's very difficult to balance this out, and that's why I said spouse role is very important. So while I'm talking about Sindhu, um, our co-founders, 10 people are there. Their spouses, their families, everybody plays a big, big role. It could be Chandani, who's Aditya's wife, Ganga, who's Raj's wife. Uh, I can go after naming them. Manoj, who's Vinu's spouse. Their contribution, they all pitch in. They all pitch in every single fund. And you would have seen it when you come for a
Yeah.
Matram event. They say it's like a family get together. Our families, all our family members are actively involved. and without which I don't think it's possible. And that's why I said each one of their support, and many of my friends' spouse, they're all working as well. Some of them are working as professors in banks and stuff like that, because we built in this family ecosystem. It's like people don't really see the pressure. They bring in children
Yeah.
to our events. You look at some of our Matram meeting, you'll have children sitting there, and so that's that way it's good fun. But Sindhu's role, and likewise each one of our spouse role, is the backbone why Matram is so strong.
I always bless. Thanks to Shiny because of the work I do. Like you, I travel a lot, literally in airport hotels. If not for a spouse at home like that who supports us, no way we can live a passion. Lucky we are. Thanks to really our spouse for the work we do. We did a campaign called 123, if you remember.
Yeah.
The reason I want to talk about the campaign is because if people watching this, they want to refer a kid to Matram. Can you talk about the campaign so that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I you know, the brainchild Rajiv came up with this. Rajiv Talreja came up with this lovely campaign. Say change 1 2 3. You know, change one life by asking 2 questions in 2 minutes. Asking these 3 questions. Change 1 2 3. Change one life in 2 minutes by asking 3 questions. Our campaign till then was about how can you change a life in 2 minutes. Frankly, it just takes 2 minutes of our time when you interact with somebody. In 2 minutes, you ask these 3 questions. So what are those 3 questions? We said around the results time. Now the 12th results, hopefully if the situation improves, will be out. Any stranger, when you find a deserving student, when you find people from the low income community, asking this, do you have children? And what are they doing? I mean, are they studying at 12th standard? What are they doing? And what are the plan for the higher studies? And we say that if you answer for these 3 questions, and irrespective of who they are, which religion they are, which caste they are, we really don't care. All you need to do is just refer them to us. Okay. After a background verification process is done, we will admit them into the college of their choice. So that's what Rajiv came up with this lovely campaign about change one life in 2 minutes by asking these 3 questions, right? And it can be anybody. And your job ends by referring them to us. Then the background team will take charge of identifying the right candidate and placing them in colleges. And once they are with us, Suren, I can be 100% assure you, their life is completely taken care of. Our placement record is 100%, right? 100%. We make sure that they get the best of the jobs by training them on the job. So thanks to Rajiv, thanks to Success Gyan, I think it was a lovely collaboration with these 2 lovely brands last year when we launched this campaign, and phenomenal results we have got. Last year we did get, because of this campaign and because so many celebrities who spoke about it, we got requests from Uttarakhand, we got requests from Telangana. You won't believe there are 2 orphan children from Punjab that we are educating right now in the SRM campus in Noida. So these are requests where we wouldn't have penetrated. Our campaigns wouldn't have reached there, thanks to this lovely campaign that we did last year.
I want everyone listening to become a brand ambassador for this. I want you guys to take 1 minute, see the people around you, anybody deserving, ask these 3 questions. If you feel they're the right person, connect to us. Where can they connect these people to you, Matram?
No, so matramfoundation.com is our website. www.matramfoundation.com is our website. My only request is there are some duplicate websites which pops up around this particular time, around admissions time. So last year we faced a peculiar trouble where somebody was taking money in our name. So we run a campaign. So very simple way, people say, how do we know which is the genuine website? If our website will not talk about money anywhere, our website will not give our donation tab anywhere. You don't see pictures anywhere, right? And it's not run by some celebrity that the moment you see an actor's image or a sports star image, it says NGO. So Matram Foundation, people can write to inquiry@matramfoundation.com. All these details are available in our website. Our WhatsApp number is put up there. They can just leave a message and we will get back to them with the details. So to make life easier for our audience, Suren, matramfoundation.com, our website has all the details and they can just get into whatever information that they want from the website.
For audience tuning in, what I want you guys to do is you have a help at home, or you see a watchman, you find anybody who's got a student who's just finishing out 12th, and you feel they're deserving, go to matramfoundation.com, connect, and the team from Matram will take care from there. Okay, and Sujit, we can talk for hours because both of us are passionate about what you do. But I'm going to dive into something which nobody knows about you. I'm going to dive into a rapid fire zone. Okay, are you ready?
I am ready.
We thought we were going to pick your brains a little and tell people, the world, something which they don't know about you. Okay?
Sure.
Your favorite book?
My favorite book has to be The Kite Runner by Khalid Mushini. That's one book which I literally cried. Okay, what a master storyteller. Kite Runner always has to be my best book. And of course, the other book which I read is The Power of Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy, something which I thoroughly enjoy.
Okay. A nickname which nobody in public knows.
My office people know this nickname was given by my boss, Richard Lobo. I'm called the Dracula. Even now, when he picks up the call, he calls me as Dracula. He doesn't call me by name. And the reason is very simple. For an offside which happened some 15 years back, I used to go and scare people wearing a Dracula mask.
Okay, that is why, right? Not because you suck somebody's blood. No,
No. Dracula with a good intention.
I guess so. Okay, a speaker or a trainer whom you actually admire. One person.
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins.
Tony
Yes, we
Robbins.
are bringing him to India, Sujit. So
Oh, that will be
we're going to
awesome.
bring him
That
to
will be
India. We're
awesome.
going to put
And if
50,000.
you allow me to give one more name, Blair, for the simple, he lives what he preaches, right?
Yeah.
Tony Robbins for his the stage presence, absolute stage presence.
Yeah. Okay. A favorite superhero character.
For me, Spider-Man,
Okay.
because that guy without the mask is a very ordinary fellow. Like you will not even look at him as a superhero, but what he does with the mask is phenomenal. It's Spider-Man. He's not that masculine guy and
Yeah.
boy next door. But in India, it has to be Shaktiman.
Your one-line definition of purpose.
It's not my line, Suren. I looked at Mark Twain and I love this line, what Mark Twain said. There are 2 days which are important: the day when you are born and the day when you know why. Right? I think that defines purpose to a large extent. If I know why I was born, I think it solves a whole lot of things around us.
Yeah,
So
I
Mark
love
Twain,
that quote of Mark Twain also. Amazing. If somebody looks at your wallet, what is the most interesting thing they'll find?
unfortunately, it's inside. Nobody has seen it except me and Sindhu. What Sindhu had gifted me, it's there inside my wallet. Nobody has seen it. She makes sure that it's there every time she says, okay, it's still there. It's some 15, 16 years old.
So she
But
gave it 16 years before. When did she give it to you?
some 16, 17 years back. It's there inside the wallet. The other interesting thing is my mom had given me a 2,000 rupees note with written there. She said, always keep it inside. Okay, it's only for emergency. Pick it up. Okay. When you're running out of cash, you just pick it up. There's nothing else interesting.
Okay. A movie that created maximum impact for you.
Oh, there are quite a few. Just want to name 3. Pursuit of Happiness is one movie.
Oh, I love that movie too.
Yeah, and I'm a big sports buff. The movie Miracle, about the American ice hockey team, it's based on a real life story. So that's another movie. Tare Zameen Par.
Wow. Yeah.
And because we are in Tamil Nadu, I want to name one Tamil movie. Anbe Sivam is a movie which I just fell in love with.
If I rank my top Tamil movies, Anbe Sivam is right at the top.
Absolutely there. Absolutely.
People can get the essence of that movie. Life will be so easy. Life will be so happy. Okay. A lot of people would love, because I'm going to ask this question. Will we see Sujit Kumar in movies?
Oh my God. until Success Gan produces one. I really don't know, Suren. Movies, I don't know. Maybe a cameo role somewhere.
See, we have a lot of friends. I know you have RJ Balaji as a very good friend. A lot of people in the film industry, they would love if you come in. So
no. We discussed with Balaji. We said, you stay where you are. I'll stay where I am.
I guess so. Okay, a hobby which nobody knows.
Oh yeah. Of course, reading is one of my favorite hobby. A huge library at home. But I want something that I thoroughly enjoy apart from reading is origami.
Okay.
I'm
wow.
very good with papers. And that is something that I pick up because to get to know kids a lot better, origami helps. So I'm always fascinated with it. I always have these origami sheets. I keep making my favorite. Spend a lot of time on YouTube. Okay. Now this 21 days trying to pick up the American recorder. I used to learn flute till 5th standard. So that's some part. But origami.
Okay. I know you have a lot of mentors and teachers. If you have to pick one mentor, who would it be?
Very difficult. That mentor you did see last year.
Okay.
My school principal. She's the reason why I am what I am, apart from my parents, right? Parents do take a big role, right? She's the one who, I scored miserably in my 12th standard, especially in one paper in mathematics. And she gave me this life lesson. Focus on what you're good at, Sujit. She simply said that, and she said, just focus on what you're good at. You'll go places. And after 25 years, I got to see her last year, and you were there for that
Yeah,
event.
she was there in Sangha. It was such a moment. I could see total joy in your eyes when you saw her.
Yeah, my school principal and my college principal, both of them would rank on the top of the list.
Okay. We have a lot of students watching this right now. Your advice to students?
Future belongs to those who spend time for themselves and reskilling themselves and reinventing themselves. I always ask this question in all my sessions. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Very simple. So people who are worried about students who are worried about placements and stuff like that, focus on what you're good at. Go learn, spend time learning, and people with good skills always will get what they want. Suren. And final message to students is, I always tell this to Martyram kids. So any student outside, I always tell them to dream big. Okay, dream big. I think that it's quite a possibility that most of your dreams will come true. And during these tough times, dream big.
Yeah. Okay, last rapid fire. This is my personal favorite. I wrote this question, and my friend CK Kumaravel, our friend CK Kumaravel, will love this answer from you. Will we see Sujit Kumar in politics?
At least in movies, there is some chance that I'm doing a cameo role. I'm not averse to politics, but I don't think my breed of people stand a chance there, Suren, frankly. And again, I go back to last year. You heard what my principal said on stage, saying that you should get into politics.
Yeah.
While I did receive offers, I don't think I'm cut out for that. Let's see, destiny.
Your answer is my answer. I tell to CKK also. I'm not cut out for that. No way.
Exactly.
But we'll support all these people. We'll do whatever possible.
No, there is so much that you can do without being in politics as well. I fully believe that, but you will never know.
Okay. So our rapid fire is done. Last two questions. Today, Matram is 900 plus students. What is your big goal with Matram?
So like you said, this is not an NGO. This is not a body shopping NGO. We are not here in the business of getting people educated and give them jobs. For me, it's a movement, right? For me, if I can create this ripple effect, if I can give quality IAS officers, if I can get quality defense officers, can give quality police officers, good administrative staff, some of the best technocrats in the country. So we are talking about building quality professionals, students coming from us. So I tell my students, I will not be very happy about you being just successful in your professional life. The way you conduct yourself, if you are a change agent tomorrow, that is what success of this movement is all about. So the future is all about building in quality professionals. No doubt we want to scale up. We want to move to different states. We are already operating in about 3-4 states. So I really do see in the next few years, we're going bigger in much in different states within our country. So that's why reaching that many more numbers, for the simple reason, this model is very easy to replicate. Okay? It doesn't cost much, right? Just about bridging the gap between the needy and somebody who's willing to donate. So that way, the larger goal is to expand this to a bigger audience and see how bigger a ripple effect that is something that we can create.
We have had this conversation, so that Success Gyan, personally for me, Matram is a very close to my heart. Because as you know my story, I wanted to study, but I couldn't study. And I've been working from the age of 18. I truly believe education can really redefine a family and a generation to come in. Absolutely. So I really want to do everything possible from my end. 900 plus should become 9,000 plus, should become 90,000 plus across India, because as you said, it's a phenomenal model. It's a no-brainer. You just need right people to really work with. So we're going to put all that's possible from behind us to help you also.
Thank you.
Dream big. I know you keep your quality intact. Even at 90,000 plus, the same core values will stay and the same impact will happen.
Absolutely.
We come to final and Sujit, your final closing remarks before we wrap up.
So see, life is beautiful, and I always want to. I've asked this question to myself many times: how would I like to be remembered? Right? And I go back to this favorite example of this man who saw his own obituary column in the London newspaper. King of Dynamite, Merchant of Death, passes away, and he was so upset, not about his picture being published there, because he thought the world is going to remember him as a merchant of death. And talking about Alfred Nobel, today we remember Alfred Nobel not for the dynamite that he invented, but for the Nobel Prize that got instituted. So in this short period of time, it's a question of how many lives that we touch. Some of us are blessed. Some of us have struggled to come this way. What you do, Suren, is something phenomenal. Creating millionaire mindset, creating millionaires to training and to meaningful programs. So likewise, each one of us have a calling. It's very important for us to figure out what our calling is and passionately work towards it. Now, to me, when my mobile phone rings or when I get a message on March 31st, I know what those messages are. These are messages that I get from my children that my first month's salary has been credited, right? For some of us, when we have our children getting placed, that moment is euphorious. Now, I cannot explain it in words to you. The joy that I see every month when some 10, 15 kids and that I'm placed, my family is settled and things like that. So life is beautiful when you make a difference to somebody. Make a lot of money, buy your big houses, big cars, but just remember to make a difference to one life, and that one life will create much bigger ripple effect. So it's life is all about being an inspiration, Suren, in my view. So to all our listeners, let's start something small, make a small difference, and from there, the tree that you grow in right front of you is huge, and that's all life is all about, in my view. So being an inspiration to others is something everybody should aspire for. I just want to leave it with that thought.
Thank you, Sujit, because whenever I send a message or email, I end with keep inspiring. You know why?
Right.
8 years before I started Success Gyan, I never knew where Success Gyan will reach. When you started Matram, you had no clue this is what is going to happen. So every one of you, take that one step. You can make a difference in this world, and the world needs you more than ever. Before I let you guys go, thank you so much, Sujit, for being on this. I love talking to you guys. I really want you to share this video because I want people to hear Matram's story. So we're going to see you in the next Success Talks edition. And we have Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy all coming up. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Sujit, for your amazing conversation. As always, I love talking to you. You are a great inspiration.
Pleasure.
Please do your work, what you're doing. Let Matram reach 9,000 plus 90,000 please in the coming years. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much, Sujit.
Thank you, Suren. Thank you. Lovely talking to you. Thank you.